Yo, 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 this your boy Courtside Ron, and here my host Courtside Ross. Welcome to More Than a Game. We're going to talk about some things that's going on around the world, some things that's more important than basketball at this particular moment. We have some thoughts, and we want to share those things with our followers. We appreciate you guys being patient with us. We appreciate you guys being around. You don't have to follow us. There are a ton of basketball pages out there, but you make ours the best, and we thank you guys for being here. So with that being said, it's a lot of good stuff going on, crazy stuff going on. Great news that the NBA is coming back in July, the end of July. That's the news. But there is some friction, and there is some things that's preventing this from fully being the NBA that we want it to be. You have a lot of NBA players, but headlines, Kyrie Irving, Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, Dame, and some of the other players that don't feel like playing basketball in the end of July isn't the ideal thing to do. They feel like it's going to take away from what's going on in the world with us fighting against racial injustice and us trying to get ourselves, Black people, to this level that we want to be well respected and well treated fairly. So they feel like basketball would take that off of the main focus and the main purpose right now. And some are saying they don't want to be around in Orlando in this bubble, not sure what's going to go on with other protesters and also with the COVID situation going on. So I completely understand that. But what are your thoughts exactly, Ross, on players and their perspective and not playing right now because they don't want to take the media attention off what's going on with racial injustice that we're fighting right now for the people?
I mean, I feel like the players have a right to feel the way they want to feel. I think they have the right to feel this way. I think they should feel this way. But I think the 22 teams that have been invited should play, and I think the 8 teams should advocate for the racial injustices. I think that's how it should be right now. I think the world needs basketball. The fans need basketball. I don't know how it's going to be with or without fans. More than likely without fans, as we know in Orlando. But no matter what, I feel like they got to play. They got to play for something. I mean, because what are you going to do next year if you don't have a season? I mean, how do you determine drafts? I know you got the lottery and everything, but it's so much difficult friction that you got to go through to even determine everything that's going to happen. So I feel like the players should play.
Okay, so you said the players should play. I'm okay with the players playing, but I think some of the players. I don't put it like this. I don't care too much if we don't play basketball this season. I can't completely disagree with players that want to play, but right. I'm okay if we don't have basketball this season. I agree with Steven Jackson with him saying that there is more things important in basketball right now. I agree with Kyrie Irving too. But I don't know if completely taking basketball out or sports out in general, all Black athletes say, we're not playing sports. We're not going to play football. We're not going to play basketball. We're not going to play baseball. What it's going to do is start this social reform going into these laws that we need to change that have been there since the 20s and 30s. Right. But at the same time, the impact is not going to be felt immediately, right? So for the long term, you say that you say the 8 teams should go out there and be the voice for the NBA. Okay, you're not going to play, be the voice for the NBA. But in those 8 teams, the major stars and athletes are the ones that really can change the unified voice, right? Those are the LeBron James, the Stephen Currys, the Giannis, the high level basketball players. They're going to be playing. They're going to be playing, right? So my thing is that if we don't play basketball right now, if we say no basketball right now, what it does is that it forces the owners and the other people that have the same fan base that other beliefs, other white power guys in there, not racist white power, but the ones that have the power to hire you, the GMs and everybody else. It changed. It's a trickle effect, right? You see what they're doing with Ain't Your Mama and everything else, right? That's what I think that's what Steven Jackson and Kyrie Irving want. They want to completely, right now, make the NBA and other sport platforms, other major sports platforms, say, what are we going to change right now? What can we do right now? Because we don't have no answers, right? Mm-hmm. They have answers. We got solutions. Right, we know what we want, but they're the answers to it. Right, we want to be treated fairly. Okay, until police officers are until it's 50, 60% black police officers policing the neighborhoods, the black neighborhoods, we ain't playing no basketball, right? Until these cops that have criminal records, that are beating on innocent black kids and beating on people in general, beating on black and brown people in general, until they off the task force, we're not playing no basketball.
But I mean, that's going to be a while before we see that. I mean, we might not even see that in our lifetime. So, I mean, you can say everything that you want.
And that's why the change needs to happen. That's why basketball and any other sport, none of that shit really matters right now, right? Because, yeah, it is long-term. It is a long-term situation. But it ain't going to be long-term if LeBron don't go play. It ain't. It's going to be LeBron them playing. And it goes from George Floyd and black kids getting hanged and they could saying it's suicide, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with everything you're saying.
And it's gonna go until is LeBron James the GOAT? LeBron James win his 4th championship. Or can Kawhi Leonard get his 3rd championship? Or can Giannis get that? Becomes
it's taking attention away. I feel you, and it's not even relevant. I feel what you're saying, but what about the high school kids that didn't even have a graduation this year? It's a lot of high school kids this year that's not even gonna get scholarships. That's not even going to college because they relied on a basketball scholarship.
Right.
There's so many things. If you do that again I understand it's a little different for high school because of the COVID situation.
Right.
That the stuff is out of their hands. But what about all the football players?
Right.
In high school, if they don't play next year, how are they going to get a scholarship?
Right.
What about what do you do with the college athletes? The seniors. That's why I heard that draft stock for the NFL. This is a lot of these players. They relied their whole life for this.
On these next 2 years too, right.
And a lot of players are playing for contracts.
Right.
There's a lot of basketball players playing for contracts. What if somebody hits the game-winning shot or has a phenomenal playoff series? I can't even think of somebody who right now, but in the NBA, and it's their livelihood. Some of them have to play. I mean, just because you have $1 million don't mean you have $1 million in your bank account.
Right.
I mean, a lot of these players are living like me and you.
Right.
They just have different expenses. They might have a $1 million homes with they might have $1 million homes.
What you mean, more expensive.
You know what I'm saying?
Money is just over the expenses, right? Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them are living like us. We just look at them as, oh yeah, they got a lot of money, but a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck. So
I understand that, right? So get back to work, get back to my normal life, because not only do Black lives matter, but my life matter, right? I gotta I gotta eat, and I gotta take care of my family, take care of my kids, and I have to dream. You have these kids, like you said, they have to dream and go bigger. And I think what we're trying to do, and what Kyrie Irving and Dwight Howard and Steven Jackson and many other players are trying to symbolize is that, right? And it's easy for them to make the sacrifices, because like I said, we both know Kyrie Irving is one of the most well-paid athletes in the NBA, right?
Most particular athletes in the NBA.
Dwight Howard has had 3 or 4 max contracts, right? Carmelo Anthony is great when it comes to money, not to worry about. Steven Jackson is going to have his money. He don't have nothing to worry about, right? And the sacrifices come from the fact of the matter is that this is how I feel towards the kids in college, right? If if they don't want to give these kids scholarships to go to these major colleges, we can have scholarships going to these HBCUs, right? This is pressure. This is how you fix things, Ross. You put pressure.
This is how you fix things. You put pressure on them. Take the money out of their pocket.
Exactly. And if we let LeBron and them, which is, and we're gonna get to the unfair criticism of LeBron pressure into this later on. But if we have LeBron and them really say, okay, we're not going to play basketball, we're going to sit down and do what we got to do. It's a long-term effect, but it has this short-term pressure that they got to answer to. You see, the NCAA had to change their approach when the G League said, okay, we're allowing kids come straight from high school now, right? You don't have to do this anymore, right? And then Adam Silver came out and said next year, not this year, but next year, kids can come out of high school again, right? What the NCAA do? Okay, well, you can make your money off your images now. You can take pictures and interviews and T-shirts and make your money now, right? So we can put pressure on the sports world. We can start, and these kids that had dreams of going to Duke in North Carolina, and if you're playing football, the Alabamas and the Georgias and everything else, and paying for these big stadiums. I understand that, right? But right now, you are the sacrificial lamb between the line that can get us crossed over to being a superior race, or keep us in a place where we are just accepted. Yeah, we can go ahead and accept what they're going to do for us and give us a scholarship because we want their scholarship. Why not go to HBCU and pay half the scholarship that's going to take to get you there, right? And not even pay nowhere near what it would take for you to go to Duke for 1 year. It's cost you $50,000. You go to Alabama and it costs you $20,000 if you're out of state, right? Why not make that impact? That's what Kyrie Irving and Steven Jackson wants to do. This is what these guys want to do.
But they gotta do it. I mean, they gotta do it, and they gotta.
But are they going
everybody else doing what they're doing?
But are they going to do it?
I mean, it can't just be them. It gotta be the Trae Youngs as well. The Cam Reddishes. It gotta be the young generation. I mean, because it has to be them because honestly, they're gonna listen to Kyrie Irving because it's Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
But let's be real right now. Trae Young honestly might have more fans than Kyrie Irving right now.
True.
So I'm not even saying that Kyrie's not the right advocate or the spokesperson because he's probably the most articulate in the NBA.
Yeah, but he's not the advocate for it. He's not the right advocate for it right now because of all the media stuff trying to put on him and make it
exactly.
So put a lot of pressure on him. Oh, crazy Kyrie speaking again. That's what it looks like. But
they try to make it seem like he dumb or something.
Right. And in reality, he's making a lot of sense. He's making more sense than you really want to give him credit for. But when people judge Kyrie Irving and they look at Kyrie Irving and when they look at Kyrie, they don't want to admit that he has truthfulness too. And a lot of NBA players are scared to back up what he believes. Like when he said the Earth flat theory, right? I done heard that theory a million times before Kyrie Irving said it, right? So why it became a big old he don't know what he's talking about thing when he said it, right? And we have some of the smartest people in the world that have came out and said that the Earth was flat. I don't know if they agree, but I don't know enough information to try to care to agree with it.
Yeah,
I'm speaking in terms of saying that the media has made Kyrie Irving a cancer. When he broke up with LeBron, it was instead of him being a young player that wanted to grow, it was he's a young arrogant player. When he went to Boston,
when he went to Boston,
had locker room issues. It was he's just arrogant. He's not a leader in these situations. He go to Boston, he go to Brooklyn. He's not playing. But and
then coach gets fired.
Right. It's a lot of stuff that follow him that makes him not the advocate for the players to stand on this thing. LeBron is, right? LeBron James is the perfect advocate. LeBron James, I say this once and I say it again, LeBron James has been the best basketball ambassador
of all time
that I have ever seen in my 25, 26 years of loving basketball. Well, I can honestly say what I've been watching it. Haven't seen nobody a greater ambassador than LeBron.
Facts, I agree.
That carries the throne of being the best player and keeping his name out of the media, speaking up against things that doesn't fit well against him. When you have places like CNN and other people telling him to shut up and dribble, turning that into a positive thing, more than an athlete, all these things. So, and for Steven Jackson, which I don't think he came out and said LeBron James' name exactly. I think Antonio Davis and all these other guys that get on here, we're putting unfair pressure on LeBron to do something that he's already been doing. Mm-hmm. For them to say, oh, well, and Pat Baby, y'all can be quiet. If LeBron say we playing, we playing. I like Pat B. Pat B from Chicago. He from my land. That's bullshit. Like, to say that, we know that. But to say that puts an unfair pressure on LeBron. And I'm not saying that he meant to do it because he's speaking his truth. But the world doesn't take it that way. And it becomes
he's playing manipulative games with him.
Right.
Exactly. Because, I mean, he's putting pressure on him on the court as well.
He is. He's putting a lot of pressure on him. That's a smart move.
It's a very smart move.
Perspective, I'm putting media stuff in his head. He ain't even going to be able to play basketball when they play. And they talk to LeBron about the shit he be playing and what's going on. That's Pat B. That's what he does, right? But the rest of the world's taking it like the other former players and everybody else saying, well, if it is LeBron who holds this status, then LeBron should be the one to not play. And like I told you before, LeBron has more on the line that some of these guys would never, ever have. Some of these guys would never, ever be mentioned in the GOAT status, ever. Never. Not knocking them.
Only a few.
All-star games. Some of them may win an MVP or two. But to be at that level when you compare it to the top 5 greatest players ever dribble basketball, it's some that can possibly make it there. but there's no one close to LeBron right now. No one has the pressure of winning a fourth ring. No one has the pressure of being compared to LeBron James. Being compared to Michael Jordan. No one has the pressure of carrying this lead on their back like LeBron does. So to make it to say, well, if LeBron doesn't play, we're going to look at him and cancel everything he's ever did. LeBron has created schools. LeBron has created scholarships. LeBron has empowered inner city kids. LeBron has
empowered his community, black people.
He has stepped up front line for every situation. Since the Trayvon Martin
every situation, that's a fact.
So for them to be like, oh, we don't. If LeBron don't come out and say he ain't playing, then LeBron ain't down for the movement. I don't agree with that at all, and that's why I'm okay with players playing. But at the same time, me personally, if I was in that position, if I was an NBA player that had money, I'm not speaking of ones that's the eighth, ninth man come off the bench. I'm not talking about the ones working their contracts. I'm speaking if I had the power that let's just say Stephen Curry has, or something similar like to that kind of situation, I wouldn't play. I want to play because I'm from Southside Chicago. I'm from Inglewood. I know what needs to be done. I have not only just that though, but I've been a victim of police brutality, and not just that though, I've been a victim of racial profiling, which we all have to some degree. I've been in jail a couple times, so I understand how this works.
See, I mean, if they play, they still got a voice though. I mean, it's going to be more platforms and people putting placed on more pedestals as well.
So you agree with Steve Kerr saying that if we do play basketball, it's better because we're going to have media attention that's going to bring.
It's going to have immediate attention. Exactly. I'm not saying it's necessarily better. I mean, I'm for playing. I'm not playing against it. I mean, I'm for not playing. But I feel like right now the world needs the NBA. The kids need the NBA. You know, people out here struggling. People out here, committing suicide because they don't have sports. I mean, it's so many things and so many parameters and everything that we look at that we're not even paying attention to. I mean, it brings the world together. But I understand what you're saying because everybody looks at us as, oh, we just play sports. They want to see us entertain them.
That's right, exactly. We're entertainment. We spend them. We make the least amount of money in the grocery income on that.
We spend the most.
Well, we spend the most money. We spend more money than anybody else.
For example, me living in Baltimore, it's a mall called Mondawmin Mall, literally right up the street, right next to Coppin State University. At one point, that was the highest grossing mall in America. In America, Baltimore. Bro, in one of the poorest communities
in Baltimore.
Right.
In Baltimore, which we all know from probably 98 to 2003, 2004 was the drug capital, right? It was known as.
People remember about those Minneapolis riots. I mean, hope people don't forget about the Baltimore riots. Just a few years ago.
That was on the cover of Time. Remember that?
Yeah.
In 2015, I believe.
That's in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
One of the corner stores from where I live on my street got burned down.
Right.
So I lived in that. So I can definitely relate to it.
I think sports brings us together, but what we're tired of being is just sports figures.
In facts, I agree with that.
We're tired of being just your favorite entertainers, man. We're tired of being the only ones that get treated fairly are the ones that you have entertainers that make $1 million that if they're not A-list celebrities or B-list celebrities, they get treated like just a normal black man on the street.
Who's the NFL player that just got hired by CNN? Was it Malcolm Jenkins, I think?
Yeah.
It's players like him. When you speak up, you get opportunities. So what if somebody like an Aaron Gordon, for example, they see how smart he is and everything, and they see how much money he can bring to the community and be the spokesman for a community. The more players that play, there's more voices, but they might not necessarily listen to them on social media because everybody doesn't follow them on social media. But you put that mic in their hand, everybody gonna listen to them. So it's gonna be spread to the world.
So you saying that sports should go on? Me personally, I think that sports shouldn't, but I'm okay with it going.
Okay, I feel you.
I just feel the way I feel because I'm frontline. I'm frontline. Stuff about me that people would never know. But at the same time, this criticism that LeBron James is facing, that pressure, how on a scale of 1 to 10, how unfair is it to you?
How unfair?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think it's at least an 8.
Mm.
Explain. Because I'm putting it at an 8 because I think they should play. I would put it higher if I thought they wouldn't play.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's always been one of the most scrutinized players to ever play this game. But I mean, a lot of the stuff he brought upon himself by going to Miami. That it's no right to. But I mean, the only reason why Kevin Durant is not considered one of the greatest players to ever play right now because he went to Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he had won at OKC, if he had got one ring at OKC,
maybe
that man might be top 10 right now.
KD, they be acting like KD not even top 15, top 20. That's how they be acting.
That's what I'm saying. Bro. So a lot of stuff that LeBron
is
getting
scrutinized 20 guys
for
better than Kevin Durant and really mean it. I'm talking about right now without no hate in your heart. Really mean that. Like you can't name.
It's definitely unfair criticism. Yeah. But in some ways, I feel like it is warranted. I mean, but right now, I don't think you should put the pressure on LeBron. But everybody knows he's the icon, the global icon of the league right now. In a few years, that might change. But if
global icon
he says goes
right now, there's nobody in sports bigger than LeBron James. And the only one that come close to it is Tom Brady. There's nobody,
and he's not even close.
He's not even close to LeBron James status when it comes to that. So
because a lot of people don't even like him
at all. Not even just that though, but we know where Tom Brady stands at in certain things, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that Tom Brady is a racist in any form or fashion, but he has walked around with a Make America hat on in his locker room, and we knew what it was, right? And that's okay. I'm not knocking him.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what he want to do. That's what he want to do.
Exactly. I don't think.
I mean, we can't knock him from coming from a community where he was raised. Exactly. If we want to understand him, he has to live in our shoes as well.
Exactly. I don't think that he's racist though. Right?
Not at all.
Right. It's a difference, right? So whatever you support is what you support. What you believe. But the core of you is who you really are. Mm-hmm. LeBron James' pressure is unfair on a scale of 10 to me, because, like I said before, none of these guys have more to lose than LeBron James. Like, if LeBron James he's 35. Mm-hmm. I'm closer to the exit than I am in anything. This is the best team I have had, like roster-wise. This is the best opportunity for me to win a championship. Maybe the easiest ship I'd have won. Outside of me playing the Clippers, maybe if we beat the Clippers, if they were to beat the Clippers, if they were to avoid it, whatever way.
You got to get there first because it ain't gonna be as easy as people think it is.
If they get the Clippers is the biggest threat. Everybody else, the Lakers should be able to beat with no problem. We both know that, man. I like the Bucks, but they're not. They should be able to beat the Bucks when they're not an issue. Not knocking them. I'm not saying they're weak. I'm just saying compared to the Lakers, they should be able to beat them. The Clippers.
I think Portland will give us some problems because the matchups.
Portland is still discombobulated with it. You got Melo not want to play. You got Dame who want to play.
Yeah, facts. Great point.
Who voted no on playing. All three of these guys didn't even want to play into the 22-team thing because they felt like if we lose 2 or 3 games, you're already out of it. Why do we want to play it? So is their minds in the right place to even play against the Lakers? Their mind, because the Lakers are ready to go.
They're ready to go.
Outside of Dwight Howard, they ready to go. And Dwight Howard talking this and doing that, but he's going to be suiting up. He's going to be playing, right? They're ready to go. So what these other teams or however this goes, we don't know, but the Lakers ready to play. So the pressure on LeBron James is not – people have to understand, it's not – you represent your race, you represent what you believe in, but your family is just as important as anything. Because if your family was if you were to be with a woman outside of your race, whether it was a Hispanic or a white woman, whatever it is, that's your family, right? That you can't say, okay, well, I'm not going, I have to be from my race and leave my family. Your family is your family, right? That's what you installing. So what we asking LeBron to do is sacrifice his family name. LeBron James has the opportunity to get a 4th championship, a 5th MVP, a 4 NBA Finals MVP. That puts you in a status level that puts you in a whole different level of debate right now. We no longer talking about him being top 5. He jumps into the top 2 at that point. He gets another MVP, right? He gets another MVP. He gets another Finals MVP, another MVP, another championship, LeBron James reaches a different level. If Giannis does it, their career just start. If Kawhi does it, his career is just adding on to what it is. Kawhi Leonard won't go down as the greatest player of all time. Like, this is pressure, man. You just can't say, okay, I'm not gonna play because I feel like if I don't play.
But you already know how I feel about Kawhi Leonard wins, but we're not gonna get
there. But what I'm saying is that
instantly jumps in my top 10.
But that's okay. That is okay. That's not Kawhi Leonard's goal, though.
Right, it's not.
This is LeBron James' goal, is to be the greatest player of all time. He's mentioned out his mouth a couple times. That's his goal. And how is he not going to do it if he doesn't play? Right? That's the unfair criticism, because LeBron's front line has been there.
He's going to be a year older.
Harden, everything that's going on in Ferguson, LeBron's been there, been up, been going, been at it.
This is even more reason why I think they should play, because we don't know if a second wave is coming. I mean, we honestly don't know what's going on.
Second wave coming.
So what if they aren't able to play? What if they aren't able to play again in the fall? So then you're gonna take 2 years off now? We don't know what the future holds. I mean, we can't do that, because how do you do the contract situations if they don't play this year? And if they play half of next year, are people in 2021 gonna be unrestricted and restricted free agents? It's too many.
And then not even just that, though. You take a year off of athlete life is like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're athlete. It's like, I don't care, whatever it is. You take a year off, it's like 2 years you're taking off. So as far as like your body getting right. So they would just cancel, because you're right. But this canceling the season right now, according to the other players and stuff, is not about the COVID. This is
yeah, absolutely.
So I think
I'm talking about in the fall when they play again.
The COVID here to stay. It's not going nowhere. It's here to stay. And by the fall time, like, we know people are going to be more vulnerable, getting sick. It's cold outside. People are going to be doing certain things. There's going to be a lot of flu, a lot of stuff going on. So you're right. If we're not going to play, if they're not playing right now, then who say we could play in the fall time? But like I said, I don't think that's the issue. That's not the issue. Because most of these athletes, half of them in the NBA, at least 20% of them already had the COVID already. Right? So these guys are at a point where they had my dad, who had pneumonia and COVID with diabetes, was able to get through it. And I'm not knocking it because it affects everybody differently. But top of the line premium athletes, basketball is one of the top conditioning sports of all time, right? Basketball, soccer, and boxing, you got to be in the tip top of the top to get into play that game. Them guys ain't worried about no COVID. That's COVID not the issue right now. The ones that don't want to go to Orlando, they don't want to go because of this racial injustice situation. Mm-hmm. And some of them don't want to go because they don't want to feel control. Because the NBA has them, they say that you in this bubble, you can't go nowhere, you can't do nothing, right. You can't have your family. Only certain.
It's gonna be like an AAU tournament.
But how you gonna? Yeah, it's like that, but with grown men in their 30s and younger, early 20s and younger in mid 20s. These are men that you're telling them to not have a lifestyle for 6-7 weeks, for 8 weeks. Right? They gotta be in this bubble. That's why some of them don't want to do it. Like, bro, we rather not have a season if we gotta go here play. Y'all, I heard something. I read something on Hoops Hype that the NBA are gonna hire private investigators to call the hotlines if they see an NBA player breaking the rules. Come on, man.
That's crazy.
Come on.
That's control. That's slavery.
Control, but that's what they have to do to protect the players from what's going on.
That's what they got to do.
Right? So the players, like, if we got to do all that, then fuck it. We're not playing today. We're not going to play. It's not necessary for us to play. So if come 24th, because they say they voting on the 24th, the players that don't want to play don't have to play. It's not going to be a breach of their contract. We don't even know how many players are actually going to play. Like, we don't even know if half the players in the league decide not to play, you only got half, then how can the season go on?
Well, yeah, then they can't resume then.
Right, so we don't even know that. So that's going to be the thing. But that's one thing on the other, man. Like I said, LeBron faces unfair pressure to do it. I'm with not playing, but I don't think it should solely based on LeBron James. It should be the league itself. They vote and they go from the vote. If you get that vote that say they want to do it, then let them guys do it. If you don't, then get your behind front line. If you ain't going to play, and get your ass out there front line and make sure you pressuring your city councils, your state governors, your mayors to get us to a different level, because we got to be there. But this is one thing I've been telling you about. We talked about this for about the past maybe a little bit over a decade since I've been knowing you.
Decade.
About top players going to HBCUs, right? At one point, we thought that we knew it was going to happen, but at that point in time, it was so many hurdles. Now, these hurdles have disappeared, and now situations are completely different, where I feel like the top athletes, not only just in basketball, but in football and everything else, have the opportunity to shift the coach if they choose HBCUs. How do you feel about Black athletes, top athletes, your top 100 athletes now considering HBCUs right now?
I mean, I love the thought. I love the situation. I think it will bring so much financial stability to the schools. You know, after they leave, you know, that's the way they're going to become millions and billion-dollar schools and industries. You know, we bring basketball back to pretty much the hood and where, you know, everything investing. I just feel like you just got to be careful with that. Like we talked about prior to this,
Gotta be very
you need to have enough security for that, because some of these schools don't have the funds and the finances to properly take care of the players. Just imagine Zion going to, you know, Alabama A&M or Grambling. Zion might be good at Howard or Hampton, where they already have, you know, Diddy and stuff, you know, talking at graduations and endorsing them. Right. But some of the smaller schools don't have that financial, you know, stability to be able to actually, you know, take care of some of these kids. So I'm definitely with it. But they just got to be able to protect them. That's all I'm saying.
The reason why we don't have this protection over this because we are behind. We're behind.
So behind.
We go to HBCUs. We seen some of the buildings. The buildings outdated. Books outdated. The facilities outdated. But it comes from us struggling to get our athletes to see us as a premium place. And with one or two top athletes deciding to go to HBCUs, that I'm not talking about lower 100, top 100. I'm talking about top 5, top 10 guys decide to go to HBCUs. It's going to change the trajectory. It's going to change it dramatically, and it won't take long.
Not at all.
Because what happens is that ESPN, that money, that ESPN broadcast money, them Jimmy V Foundation games and all that, nobody want to see that if you got Syracuse and North Carolina, these guys with no top players. Who wants to see it? They want to see A&M. They want to see Grambling. They want to see State. They want to see Howard because they got the top players there, right? Mm-hmm. Top players there, the view's there. The view's there, the impact is there. Now you can throw these top teams into New York. Why we can't go to the Garden? Why you can't do an HBCU versus Big 12 conferences, right? Why the HBCU can't versus the SEC, right? We can't compete with them now. You know why? Because our athletes go there. But you give us our athletes back, we can compete and beat any school. And that's what we need. That's what we need. Because if we want to shift the dynamic of the Black culture and the Black children being minorities and being treated the way we treat them, we have to treat them with education. And the way to get education is to get your education funded. And if HBCUs get these kids go there, then the billions of dollars that go, millions of dollars that go into the Alabamas and everybody else, they can go into our HBCUs, which brings us more people, gives us more exposure, give us bigger campuses, give us more contracts with the big companies, and give us the protection to do that, right? Give us the ability and the assets to protect and treat our players and our students like premium students. Like you go to Harvard, and a student at Harvard, that one student at Harvard, get treated like he's gold in Harvard. Because they know the value of you having to get there, whether it's scholarship or your mom and your daddy paying for it, you're worth that value, right? Mm-hmm. HBCUs don't get the value that we deserve because they don't know the worth of our value. Our athletes have to come home. They got to.
They have to. They got. Well, how do you feel about some of the schools like Hampton going to the Big South? You know, leaving the MEAC and stuff like that.
If you have I'm okay with that, because what's happening is that you're still putting yourself in a position to compete against bigger competition and bigger picture. So you're getting us out there more. We're getting out there more. The reason why we created the SWAC was
better recruits.
The reason why the SWAC was created because It was HBCUs fit based upon how many students go there, how many athletes go there, and what they can do. Okay, this conference, a conference is outside of professional conference in major sports. In colleges, a conference is to sit you towards a region and it's towards your how much your school really makes, right? So they put you in this conference because this is a competition. Like in Chicago, it's Class A, Class AA, Class Single A. The real big schools play for the Class AA because the more talent is going to go there. So they're going to have better talent than the Single A schools because there's more people from around the area actually going to these schools. So if you take the SWAC, you take Alabama A&M and you throw them into a Big 12 conference, then it gives exposure to these other
way more exposure
kids to want to come to these schools. But you keep them in the SWAC, you keep them minimal. You only give them a couple games on ESPN 3.
ESPN 3.
You goddamn ESPN 1. You get ESPN 3. Then they put you in a situation where you're looking at it because most of these kids, like you said, Ross, they waited all their life to get to the last 2 years, which is that picking your college and your first year college. That's the most important thing for some of these young kids. And they're missing out on it. And they're missing out on some, I believe, that great love the HBCU.
You know what's crazy about what you're saying? Because I think a lot of kids nowadays are embarrassed to go to certain schools. Amen. And I think a lot of these kids, when they put their top 5, top 10, and they see a black school in there, people like Jackson State or something, what's that? Well, why is that in your top 10? You know, they're gonna bring a lot of exposure to the schools and that top 5 and top 10, you know, with them having the black schools in there, man, it's gonna bring so much credibility.
It's gonna go to a point where these young kids, unfortunately, this is how it's gonna be because this is the way the Twitter world and the Instagram world is and everything else. If they don't go to HBCUs, they're gonna be part of the cancel culture. Screwed.
That's deep. That's
right.
Deep.
You got J. Cole and Kendrick getting scrutinized for the cancel culture, and these are the most 2 political rappers that we have seen in the 15 years that we have.
It's funny how they say cancel the culture, but what is the culture? A lot of this culture not even American culture.
A lot of the culture is fabricated to your emotions.
Mm-hmm. So and a lot of the culture that this goes back, and a lot of those companies go back to racism as well.
Exactly, it always does. So the thing, like I said, the cancel culture is if you don't agree with us, you're against us. That's the cancel culture. And most of these kids that are in the schools, they are in that Gen X generation, Gen Z generation. That's going to make them treat that if you're going to pick Duke or any other prestigious school over HBCUs, we ain't fucking with you. That's just how it's going to be. Their pressure to go to HBCU is already in place. And with top players like Mikey saying that he's willing to even consider it, like this top 3. You even had guys like LeVar Ball was considering his sons going to HBC. Going to HBC. Like this is real strong consideration.
His first LaMelo's first name was from Alabama A&M.
Right. So this is strong consideration now, and this is what I think the kids going to HBCUs will be bigger than LeBron James and the players not playing this season.
And it's really we talking about basketball, but it's really gonna hurt football.
It's gonna hurt football like they're gonna cry.
Yeah, football gonna be it's gonna be dead.
Yeah, because we are what we are. We're the best athletes of all time, and we need to come home. There's no knock on the other major schools. Y'all done had this run for how long? Y'all done had it. You have Paul Bryant, the greatest football coach in college history, according to what they say he had never had no black players on his team.
Crazy.
This is Alabama. This is University of Alabama that said this. And then look at them now. Year in and year out, they're one of the best schools that's winning championships. Why? Because their players are black.
And they know they're going to go to the NFL, a lot of them.
And that's what we need.
If that's the pipeline, that's what they're going to do because they got to feed their family.
If you get us top athletes, let me tell you something. The Chicago Bears, the Dallas Cowboys, they don't give a fuck what school you went to. The New Jersey, the Brooklyn Nets, Chicago Bulls, they don't care what school you went to. If you nice, you nice.
Nice.
But we was taught that was school you go to because it was that. This is how you view. And if you don't go to this school, then it's going to take you 3 times, 4 times the effort to get here. And you just as better as these guys.
Like we say, a few days ago, a lot of these kids go to Duke because of the financial security. You know what I mean? So even if you don't go to the NBA, you already know that you're going to have a job after college is waiting for you.
Right.
You know, you work for Coach K.
And that's what we got to change. So a few questions, few hot questions for you before we go. I'm gonna ask you three things, man. I want you to give me your input on. Do you feel like Kyrie Irving will be in the NBA 5 years from now?
Absolutely, I do think so. The only reason why he won't be in the NBA is because he's out here advocating. He out here in the field doing what he say he's gonna do. Now, if he gonna speak it, he gotta do it. I believe he's gonna do it, but if he's gonna do it, he gotta do it. But 5 years from now, I think so.
Okay.
Unless injuries, as well, take a part.
Okay. Do you think that this NBA season, this particular season right here, is the most important season to get going? As far as like, if we don't get the season going this year, it may be a different type of reaction to basketball the next year, next 2021. Is 2020 season just as important to get going, or starting over in 2021 is what we should be aiming at?
That's a great question. I think it's to get it back going. I think it's more important. I think so. I think that because I just think they need to come back and play. I mean, you hit it on the point yesterday when we were talking on the phone and everything. When you said that it's okay if you don't want to play, but if you are here and you saying that you're not gonna play and you out of shape, I can't rock with you on that.
Yeah.
So if you out of shape and you don't want to play,
because you're saying it's different, right? Because
it's a difference.
Because you're going to be lazy, it's different. Yeah,
it's a difference because a lot of these players still are lazy. Let's just be real.
Yeah, they're human beings. They're human beings.
Human beings.
We forget that these cats, you 6'6", 6'7", you can hoop, but you're still a human being, right? You still feel.
I think this year's you got to do something, and unless the players don't want to play, I can't control that.
Okay, so another question: if you're Adam Silver, what's your reaction to this? Right, what is your reaction to players that don't want to play, and how do you conform these players into playing? Right, or do you feel like, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to the players and we're gonna cancel this season, or do you really step in and say, I'm commissioner, this is what's gonna happen, this is what needs to be done? And what do you do if you Adam Silver?
You gotta listen to the players.
Yeah,
it's a players' league.
It's a players'
I mean, let's just be real. I mean, Adam Silver can't really relate to. He can relate to what's going on, but he's not black, so right. He doesn't understand.
Right, you're not black. Right,
you know exactly what I'm trying to say. So he got to do what the players want to do.
Yeah.
But he has to step in next year and say, all right, guys, it's time to get back to basketball. You know, we can you can kneel, you can wear I Can't Breathe shirts, you can do whatever you want to do from here on out.
But we need to get back to basketball.
We need to get back to basketball. This is your job. This is my job. And I'm not going to let you run me as a commissioner. I still got a job to do. But if you want to take a year off and don't finish the season, this is on you. But just know that it might affect your contract. The injury's going to go up. You know, we can't promise you'll be in the –
injury's going to go sky roof.
Yeah, for real.
Because get these guys to be in the
NBA next year.
For these guys to be in playoff shape and what they say, in a couple weeks to be in playoff shape, them guys is definitely going to be injured prone because it takes you 40 NBA games just to get in mid-season shape. So it's a lot on the line, but at the same time, the wheel has to go. Right? So whether we do it now, we do it later, the wheel has to go. I feel like right now is a great excuse not to turn the wheel. At the same time, turning the wheel might be the solution that we need. So with that being said, man, that concludes our episode here. Again, this is your boy Ron, Courtside Ross. We just here talking basketball, talking political, talking whatever's going on. You can comment, you can send us things, let us know what you want to talk about, let us know what you agree on, disagree on. We're open to communication. The world needs your help. The world needs everybody's voice.
Everybody's help.
The world needs everybody's opinion. So if you hear something that you may agree on, disagree on, it's hefty to have an opinion about it. Let's talk about these things so we go to the next level. I appreciate you guys listening to us and talking to us. You're going to be seeing us again next week, and we're going to keep coming more and more. Shit from your boy. Peace.
Peace.
All right, it's all good.